are you guys? Good evening. Are you guys ready to go to bed? And I know that sometimes that on some places it's morning. I know. Good morning. Hi. Already in bed though. Oh really? What a good boy. Nade. And I know that some people are oh my phone. I know that some people places are morning, so good morning and good evening for anyone who their place is evening, I guess. Hi. And tonight I will read 2 stories and every story is in English. Next time I will do some Indonesian stories also, so please wait for it, okay? But for this stream I would read English stories. And of course after this you can replay where I read the stories whenever you want to sleep, so it probably will help you sleep even easier because the purpose of this stream itself is to help you to get sleepy easier. Yeah. ちょっと水を飲みます。何？ちょっと待って。So for this stream, there will be only English story for now, okay? For the next stream, I will bring some Indonesian stories also, okay? ちょっと水を飲みます。Yes, so have you guys get comfy and get some warm blanket or a warm drink or fluffy pillow to just sit down and listen to the story? Oh, good evening. Hello. Yes. But I'm working. Well, for working, it could be somewhat become your what is it? Like some background sounds or noises. It could help you relax during your work, okay? Hello, Risu. Hello. Risu, I just woke up. Welcome. Good morning. And actually I'm pretty sleepy myself, so yeah. Probably after this, after reading, I will just head out straight to bed. Risu, what time it is? Is it there? It's 10 p.m. here, so it's pretty late. Yeah. Hello, I'm in class right now. Good luck on your class. Okay, let's go. So the first story that I would read to you guys is Little Annie's Ramble. The link for the story is in the description. You can check it out. Like, click the to expand the description for this stream, and click the link and scroll down a little bit to find the story. The title is Little Annie's Ramble. Okay? Alright. I will drink again, and after this I will start reading this story, okay? Risu, did you change your mic? No? Why? Is there something wrong with the mic? Alright. Risu, you sound sleepy because this stream is actually to make you sleepy. Yes, this stream is supposed to make you sleepy. And I will forgive anyone who sleep in the middle of the stream because that's the point, okay? It's alright to not actively comment and just enjoy the sound or the story. So, yes. Would this technically be Risu ASMR? Yes. This is Risu ASMR. Alright. Okay, let's go. The first story, if you want to read along the story that I read, you can expand the stream description and click the link. There's the link for the story. The first story is gonna be Little Annie's Ramble. Is my voice clear and my pronunciation is clear enough for you guys to listen to? Alright. Thank you. Okay, let's start the first story. Little Annie's Ramble. Ding dong, ding dong. The town crier has rung his bell at a distant corner, and little Annie stands on her father's doorsteps, trying to hear what the man with the loud voice is talking about. Let me listen too. Oh, he is telling the people that an elephant and a lion and a royal tiger and a horse with horns and other strange beasts from foreign countries have come to town and will receive all visitors who choose to wait upon them. Perhaps little Annie would like to go? Oh, yes. And I can see that the pretty child is wary of this wide and pleasant street with the green trees flinging their shade across the quiet sunshine, and the pavements and the sidewalks all as clean as if the housemaid had just swept them with her broom. She feels that impulse to go strolling away, that longing after the mystery of the great world, which many children feel, and which I felt in my childhood. Little Annie shall take a ramble with me. See, I do but hold out my hand, and like some bright bird in the sunny air, with her blue silk frock fluttering upward from her white pantalettes, she comes bounding on tiptoe across the street. Smooth back your brown curls, Annie, and let me tie on your bonnet, and we will set forth. What a strange couple to go on their rambles together. One walks in black attire with a measured step and a heavy brow and his thoughtful eyes bent down, while the little girl trips lightly along as if she were forced to keep hold of my hand lest her feet should dance away from the earth. Yet there is sympathy between us. If I pride myself on anything, it is because I have a smile the children love, and on the other hand, there are few ground ladies that could entice me from the side of little Annie, or I delight to let my mind go hand in hand with the mind of a sinless child. So come, Annie, But if I moralize as we go, do not listen to me. Only look about you and be merry. Now we turn the corner. Here are hacks with 2 horses and stagecoaches with 4 thundering to meet each other, and trucks and carts moving at a slower pace, being heavily laden with barrels from the wharfs. And here are rattling gigs which perhaps will be smashed to pieces before our eyes. Hitherward also comes a man trundling a wheelbarrow along the pavement. Is not little Annie afraid of such tumult? No, she does not even shrink closer to my side, but passes on with fearless confidence, a happy child amidst a great throng of grown-up people who pay the same reference to her infancy that they would to extreme old age. Nobody jostles her. All turn aside to make way for little Annie, and what is most singular, she appears conscious of her claim to such respect. Now her eyes brighten with pleasure. The street musician has seated himself on the steps of yonder church and pours forth his strains to the busy town, a melody that has gone astray among the tramp of footsteps, the buzz of voices, and the whir of passing wheels. Who heeds the poor organ grinder? None but myself and little Annie, whose feet begin to move in unison with the lively tune, as if she were loth that music should be wasted without a dance. But where would Annie find a partner? Some have the gout in their toes or the rheumatism in their joints. Some are stiff with age, some feeble with disease, some are so lean that their bones would rattle, and others of such ponderous size that their agility would crack the flagstones. But many have leaden feet because their hearts are far heavier than the lead. It is a sad thought that I have chanced upon. What a company of dancers should we be? For I too am a gentleman of sober footsteps, and therefore, little Annie, let us walk sedately on. It is a question with me whether this giddy child or my sage self have most pleasure in looking at the shop windows. We love the silks of sunny hue that glow within the darkened premises of the spruce dray goodsmen. We are pleasantly dazzled by the burnished silver and the chased gold, the rings of wedlock and the costly love ornaments glistening at the window of the jeweler. But Annie, more than I, seeks for a glimpse of her passing figure in the dusty looking glasses at the hardware stores. All that is bright and gay attracts us both. Here is a shop to which the recollections of my boyhood as well as present partialities give a peculiar magic. How delightful to let the fancy revel on the dainties of a confectioner. Those pies with such white and flaky paste, their contents being a mystery, whether rich mince with whole plums intermixed or piquant apple delicately rose flavored. Those cakes, heart-shaped or round, piled in a lofty pyramid. Those sweet little circlets sweetly named kisses. Those dark, majestic masses fit to be bridal loaves at the wedding of an iris, mountains in size. Their summits deeply snow-covered with sugar. And then, the mighty treasure of sugar plums, white and crimson and yellow, in large glass vases, and candy of all varieties, and those little cockles, or whatever they are called, much prized by children for their sweetness, and more for the smooth toes which they enclose by lovesick maids and bachelors. Oh, my mouth waters, little Annie, and so do yours. But we will not be tempted except to an imaginary feast. So let us hasten onward, devouring the vision of a plum cake. Here are pleasures, as some people would say, of a more exalted kind, in the window of a bookseller. Is Annie a literary lady? Yes. She is deeply read in Peter Parley's tomes and has an increasing love for fairy tales, though seldom met with nowadays, and she will subscribe next year to the juvenile miscellany. But truth to tell, she is apt to turn away from the printed page and keep gazing at the pretty pictures, such as the gay-colored ones, which make this shop window the continual loitering place of children. What would Annie think if the book which I mean to send her on New Year's Day she should find her sweet little self bound up in silk or morocco with gilt edges, there to remain till she becomes a woman grown with children of her own, to read about their mother's childhood? That would be very queer. Little Annie is wary of pictures and pulls me onward by the hand till suddenly we pause at the most wondrous shop in all the town. Oh my stars! Is this a toy shop? Or is it fairyland? For here are gilded chariots in which the king and queen of the fairies might ride side by side, while their courtiers on these small horses should gallop in triumphal procession before and behind the royal pair. Here, too, are dishes of chinaware fit to be the dining set of those same princely personage when they make a regal banquet in this stateliest hall of their palace. Full 5 feet high, and behold, their nobles feasting adown the long perspective of the table. Betwixt the king and queen should sit my little Annie, the prettiest fairy of them all. Here stands turbaned Turk threatening us with his saber, like an ugly heathen as he is, and next the Chinese Mandarin who nods his head at Annie and myself. Here we may review a whole army of horse and foot in red and blue uniforms, with drums, fifes, trumpets, and all kinds of noiseless music. They have halted on the shelf of this window after they were remarked from Lilliput. But what cares Annie for soldiers? No conquering queen is she. Neither Semiramis nor a Catherine. Her whole heart is set upon that doll, who gazes at us with such a fashionable stare. This is the little girl's true plaything. Though made of wood, a doll is a visionary and ethereal personage endowed with childish fancy with a peculiar life. The mimic lady is a heroine of a romance, an actor and a sufferer in 1,000 shadowy scenes, the chef inhabitant of that wild world with which children ape the real one. Little Annie does not understand what I am saying, but look wishfully at the proud lady in the window. We will invite her home with us as we return. Meantime, goodbye, Diam doll. A toy yourself, you look forth from your window upon many ladies that are also toys. Though they walk and speak and upon a crowd in pursuit of toys, though they wear a grave visage, oh, with your never-closing eyes, had you but an intellect to moralize on all that flits before them, what advice still would you pay? Come, little Annie, we shall find toys enough, go where we may. Now we elbow our way among the throng again. It is curious in the most crowded part of a town to meet with living creatures that had their birthplace in some far solitude, but have acquired a second nature in the wilderness of men. Look up, Annie, at that canary bird hanging out of the window in his cage. Poor little fellow! His golden feathers are all tarnished in the smoky sunshine. He would have glistened twice as brightly among the summer islands, but still he has become a citizen in all his tastes and habits, and would not sing half so well without the uproar that drowns his music. What a pity that he does not know how miserable he is. There is a parrot too, calling out, "Pretty ball, pretty ball," as we pass by. Foolish bird, to be talking about her prettiness to strangers, especially as she is not a pretty ball, though gaudily dressed in green and yellow. If she had said "Pretty Annie," there would have been some sense in it. See that gray squirrel at the door of the fruit shop, hurling around and round so merrily within his wire wheel. Being condemned to the treadmill, he makes it an amusement. Admirable philosophy. Here comes a big, rough dog, a countryman's dog, in search of his master, smiling at everybody's heels and touching little Annie's hand with his cold nose. But hurrying away, though she would fain have patted him. Success to your search! Fidelity! And there sits a great yellow cat upon the windowsill, a very corpulent and comfortable cat, gazing at this transitory world with owl's eyes, and making pithy comments, doubtless, or what appears such, to the silly beast. Oh, sage puss, make room for me beside you, and we will be a pair of philosophers. Here we see something to remind us of the town crier and his ding-dong bell. Look Look at the great clouds spread out in the air, pictured all over with wild beasts, as if they had met together to choose a king. According to their custom in the days of Aesop, but they're choosing neither a king nor a president, else we should hear a most horrible snarling. They have come from the deep woods and the wild mountains and the desert sands and the polar snows only to do homage to my little Annie. As we enter among them, the great elephant makes us bow in the best style of elephantine courtesy, bending lowly down his mountain bulk, with trunk abased and leg thrust out behind. Annie returns to salute, much to the gratification of the elephant, who is certainly the best bred monster in the caravan. The lion and the lioness are busy with two beef bones. The royal tiger, the beautiful, the untamable, keeps pacing his narrow cage with a haughty step, unmindful of the spectators or recalling the fierce deed of his former life, when he was wont to leap forth upon such inferior animals from the jungles of Bengal. Here we see the very same wolf. Do not go near him, Annie. The self-same wolf that devoured Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother. In the next cage, a hyena from Egypt, who has doubtless howled around the pyramids, and the black bear from our own forests, our fellow prisoners and most excellent friends. Are there any two living creatures who have so few sympathies that they cannot possibly be friends? Here sits a great white bear whom common observers would call a very stupid beast, though I perceive him to be only absorbed in contemplation. He is thinking of his voyage on an iceberg and of his comfortable home in the vicinity of the North Pole, and of the little cups whom he left rolling in the eternal snows. In fact, he is a bear of sentiment, but oh, those unsentimental monkeys, the ugly, grinning, aping, chattering, ill-natured, mischievous, and queer little brutes. Annie does not love the monkeys. Their ugliness shocks her pure instinctive delicacy of taste and makes her mind unique because it bears a wild and dark resemblance to humanity. But here is a little pony, just big enough for Annie to ride, and round and round he gallops in a circle, keeping time with his trampling hoofs to a band of music. And here, with a laced coat and a cocked hat and a riding whip in his hand, here comes a little gentleman, small enough to be king of the fairies and ugly enough to be king of the gnomes, and takes the flying leap into the saddle. Merrily, merrily plays the music, and merrily gallops the pony, and merrily lies the little old gentleman. Come, Annie, into the street again. Perchance we may see monkeys on horseback there. Mercy on us! What a noisy world we quiet people lived in! Did Annie ever read The Cries of London City? With what lusty lungs doth yonder man proclaim that his wheelbarrow is full of lobsters? Here comes another, mounted on a cart and blowing a horse and a dreadful blast from a tin horn, as much as to say, "Fresh fish!" And hark! A voice on high, like that of a muezzin from the summit of a mosque, announcing that some chimney sweeper has emerged from smoke and soot and darksome caverns into the upper air. What cares the world for that? But, well a day, we hear a shrill voice of affliction, the scream of a little child, rising louder with every repetition of that smart, sharp, slapping sound produced by an open hand on tender flesh. And he sympathizes, though without experience of such direful woe. Lo! The town crier again, with some new secret for the public ear. Will he tell us of an auction, or of a lost pocketbook of a show of beautiful wax figures, or some monstrous beast more horrible than any in the caravan? I guess the latter. See how he uplifts the bell in his right hand and shakes it slowly at first, then with a hurried motion, till the clapper seems to strike both sides at once, and the sounds are scattered forth in quick succession far and near. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Now he raises his clear, loud voice above all the din of the town. It drowns the buzzing talk of many tongues and draws each man's mind from his own business. It rolls up and down the echoing streets and ascends to the hushed chamber of the sick, penetrates downward to the cellar kitchen where the hot cook turns from the fire to listen. Who of all that address to public ear, whether in church or court house or hall of state, has such an attentive audience as the town crier? What says the people's orator? Straight from her home, a little girl of 5 years old, in a blue silk frock and white pantaloons with brown curling hair and hazel eyes. Whoever will bring her back to her afflicted mother. Stop, town crier. The lost is found. Oh, my pretty Annie. We forgot to tell your mother of our ramble, and she's in despair and has sent the town crier to bellow up and down the street, affrighting old and young, for the loss of a little girl who has not once let go of my hand. Well, let us hasten homeward, and as we go, forget not to thank heaven, my Annie, that after wandering a little way into the world, you may return at the first summons with an untainted and unwearied heart, and be happy, child, again. But I have gone too far astray for the town crier to call me back. Sweet has been the charm of childhood on my spirit throughout my ramble with little Annie. Say not that it has been a waste of precious moment, an idle matter, a babble of childish talk, and a reverie of childish imagination about topics unworthy of a grown man's notice. Has it been merely this? No, not so. There are not truly wise who would affirm it. As the pure breath of children revives the life of aged men, so is our moral nature revived by their free and simple thoughts, their native feeling, their airy mirth for little cause or none, their grief soon roused and soon allayed, their influence on us is at least reciprocal with ours on them. When our infancy is almost forgotten and our boyhood long departed, though it seems but as yesterday, when life settles darkly down upon us and we doubt whether to call ourselves young anymore, then it is good to steal away from the society of bearded men and even of gentler women and spend an hour or two with children. After drinking from those fountains of still fresh existence, we shall return into the crowd as I do now to struggle onwards and do our part in life. Perhaps as fervently as ever, but for a time with a kinder and purer heart and a spirit more lightly wise. All this by thy sweet magic, dear little Annie. The end. Alright, so the story about little Annie is actually just a short story where this man dressed in black this man dressed in black, he took Annie on a stroll to actually see a passing by circus, and he was a typical nowadays grown-up man, and by the time he took Annie around the town, he realized that sometimes we should take a look at little children on how they enjoy their life, how they look at things positively, how they still have the energy to be brave, to be able to have a broad imagination. We actually need to take a look back at children and not to be stuck up as an adult, because we do understand as we grow up it gets more duller, the life gets dull and it gets harder even. So sometimes we just, as an adult, we just have to look at the simplest things to actually be able to enjoy things that when we actually too focus to grow up, to focus to continue our life, we just forgot those little sparks in life. So yes, it tells us to actually start appreciating life again. Yes, don't forget your innocence, okay? Don't forget your spirit in life. What brings you to this point? What brings you to actually start doing things? Don't forget that, alright? And this story is actually really nice and warm and pretty funny in the end, because actually Annie and this man forgot to tell Annie's mom that Annie is going on a stroll. So Annie's mom thought that Annie has been lost. It's really funny. It's pretty funny. Yeah. But I'm gonna drink water for a little bit so we can continue to the next story. Wait up. Misuを飲みます。Alright, Alright, next story. Before we actually start the next story, I would like to tell you that the story is in the stream description. You can expand the stream description and find the link. The next story is The Cat That Walked by Himself. The link is in the description, so before we actually start, you can click to the link and you'll be forwarded to the story. Scroll down a little bit and find the story. The title is The Cat That Walked by Himself. Yes. So if you guys want to open the story now, you can open it right now before we start this story, alright? Okay, I'm gonna drink a little bit more water before we actually start. ちょっと水を飲みます。Alright, I think we are ready to continue the next story. The next story is The Cat That Walked by Himself. Hear and attend and listen, for this befell and happened and became and was, oh my best beloved, when the tame animals were wild. The dog was wild, and the horse was wild, and the cow was wild, and the sheep was wild, and the pig was wild as wild could be, and they walked in the wet wild woods by their wild lawns. But the wildest of all wild animals was the cat. He walked by himself, and all places were alike to him. Of course, the man was wild too. He was dreadfully wild. He didn't even begin to tame till he met the woman. And she told him that she did not like living in his wild ways. She picked out a nice dry cave instead of a heap of wet leaves to lie down in. And she strewed clean sand on the floor. And she lit a nice fire of wood at the back of the cave. And she hung a dried wild horse skin tail down across the opening of the cave. And she said, "Wipe your feet, dear, when you come in, and now we'll keep house." The night best beloved, they ate wild sheep roasted on the hot stones and flavored with wild garlic and wild pepper, and wild duck stuffed with wild rice and wild fenugreek and wild coriander, and marrow bones of wild oxen, and wild cherries and wild grenadillas. Then the man who went to sleep in front of the fire, ever so happy. But the woman sat up, combing her hair. She took the bone off the shoulder of mutton, the big fat blade bone, and she looked at the wonderful marks on it, and she threw more woods on the fire, and she made a magic. She made the first singing magic in the world. Out in the wet wild woods, all the wild animals gathered together where they could see the light of the fire a long way off, and they wondered what it meant. Then Wild Horse stamped with his wild foot and said, "Oh, my friends and oh, my enemies, why have the man and the woman made that great light in that great cave? And what harm will it do to us?" Wild Dog lifted up his wild nose and smelled the smell of a roast mutton and said, "I will go up and see and look and say, for I think it is good. Cat, come with me." "Nay," said the cat. "I am the cat who walks by himself and all places are alike to me. I will not come." "Then we can never be friends again," said Wild Dog, and he trotted off to the cave. But when he had gone a little way, the cat said to himself, "All places are alike to me. Why should I not go too and see and look and come away at my own liking?" So he slipped after Wild Dog softly, very softly, and hid himself where he could hear everything. When Wild Dog reached the mouth of the cave, he lifted up the dried horse skin with his nose and sniffed the beautiful smell of the roast mutton. And the woman, looking at the blade bone, heard him and laughed and said, "Here comes the first wild thing out of the wild woods. What do you want?" Wild Dog said, "Oh, my enemy and wife of my enemy, what is that smell so good in the wild woods?" Then the woman picked up a roasted mutton bone and threw it to Wild Dogs and said, "Wild thing out of the wild woods, taste and try." Wild Dog gnawed the bone, and it was more delicious than anything he had ever tasted, and he said, "Oh, my enemy and wife of my enemy, give me another." The woman said, "Wild thing out of the wild woods, help my man to hunt through the day and guard his cave at night, and I will give you as many roast bones as you need." "Ah," said the cat, listening. "This is a very wise woman, but she is not so wise as I am." Wild Dog crawled into the cave and laid his head on the woman's lap and said, "Oh, my friend and wife of my friend, I will help your man to hunt through the day, and at night I will guard your cave." "Ah," said the cat, listening, "that is a very foolish dog." And he went back through the wet wild woods, waving his wild tail and walking by his wild alone, but he never told anybody. When the man waked up, he said, "What is Wild Dog doing here?" And the woman said, "His name is not Wild Dog anymore, but the first friend, because he will be our friend for always and always and always. Take him with you when you go hunting." Next night, the woman cut great green armful of fresh grass from the water meadows and dried it before the fire, so that it smelled like new mown hay, and she sat at the mouth of the cave and plaited a halter out of horse hide And she looked at the shoulder of mutton bone, at the big broad blade bone, and she made a magic. She made the second singing magic in the world. Out in the wild woods, all the wild animals wondered what had happened to Wild Dog, and at last Wild Horse stamped with his foot and said, "I will go and see and say why Wild Dog has not returned. Cat, come with me." "Nanny," said the cat, "I am the cat who walks by himself, and all places are alike to me. I will not come." But all the time he followed the wild horse softly, very softly, and hid himself where he could hear everything. When the woman heard the wild horse tripping and stumbling on his long mane, she laughed and said, "Here comes the second wild thing out of the wild woods. What do you want?" The wild horse said, "Oh, my enemy and wife of my enemy, where is Wild Dog?" The woman laughed and picked up the blade bone and looked at it and said, "Wild thing out of the wild woods, you did not come here for a wild dog, but for the sake of this good grass." And Wild Horse, tripping and stumbling on his long mane, and said, "That is true. Give it to me. Give it me to eat." The woman said, "Wild thing out of the wild woods, bend your wild head and wear what I give you, and you shall eat the wonderful grass 3 times a day." "Ah," said the cat, listening, "this is a clever woman, but she is not so clever as I am." Wild Horse bent his wild head, and the woman slipped the plaited hide halter over it, and the Wild Horse breathed on the woman's feet and said, "Oh, mistress and wife of my master, I will be your servant for the sake of the wonderful grass." "Ah," said the cat, listening, "that is a very foolish horse." And he went back through the wet wild woods, waving his wild tails and walking by his wild lawn. But he never told anybody. When the man and the dog came back from hunting, the man said, "What is Wild Horse doing here?" And the woman said, "His name is not Wild Horse anymore, but the first servant, because he will carry us from place to place for always and always and always. Ride on his back when you go hunting." Next day, holding her wild head high that her wild horn should not catch in the wild trees, wild cows came up to the cave, and the cat followed and hid himself just the same as before, and everything happened just the same as before, and the cat said the same things as before, and the wild cow had promised to give her milk to the woman every day in exchange for the wonderful grass. The cat went back through the wet wild woods, waving his wild tail and walking by his wild lawn, just the same as before. But he never told anybody. And when the man and the horse and the dog came home from hunting and asked the same questions, same as before, the woman said her name is not Wild Cow anymore, but the giver of good food. She will give us the warm white milk for always and always and always. And I will take care of her while you and the first friend and the first servant go hunting. Next day, the cat waited to see if any other wild thing would go up to the cave, but no one moved in the wet wild woods. So the cat walked there by himself, and he saw the woman milking the cow, and he saw the light of the fire in the cave, and he smelled the smell of the warm white milk. Cat said, "Oh, my enemy and wife of my enemy, where did wild cow go?" The woman laughed and said, "Wild thing out of the wild woods, go back to the woods again, for I have braided up my hair, and I have put away the magic blade bone, and we have no more need of either friends or servants in our cave." Cat said, "I'm not a friend and I'm not a servant. I am the cat who walks by himself, and I wish to come into your cave." Woman said, "Then why did you not come with first friend on the first night?" Cat grew very angry and said, "Has wild dog told tales of me?" Then the woman laughed and said, "You are the cat who walks by himself, and all places are alike to you. You are neither a friend nor a servant. You have said it yourself. Go away and walk by yourself in all places alike." Then the cat pretended to be sorry and said, "Must I never come into the cave? Must I never sit by the warm fire? Must I never drink the warm white milk? You are very wise and very beautiful. You should not be cruel even to a cat." Woman said, "I knew I was wise, but I did not know I was beautiful, so I will make a bargain with you. If ever I say one word in your praise, you may come into the cave. And if you say 2 words in my praise," said the cat, "I never shall," said the woman. "But if I say 2 words in your praise, you may sit by the fire in the cave. And if you say 3 words," said the cat, "I never shall," said the woman. "But if I say 3 words in your praise, you may drink the warm white milk 3 times a day, or always and always and always." Then the cat arched his back and said, "Now let the curtain at the mouth of the cave, and the fire at the back of the cave, and the milk pots that stand beside the fire, remember what my enemy and the wife of my enemy has said." And he went away through the wet wild woods, waving his wild tail and walking by his wild lawn. That night, when the man and the horse and the dog came home from hunting, the woman did not tell them of the bargain that she had made with the cat, because she was afraid that they might not like it. Cat went away and far away and hid himself in the wet wild woods by his wild lawn for a long time, till the woman forgot all about him. Only the bat, the little upside down bat that hung inside the cave, knew where cat hid. And every evening Bat would fly to Cat with news of what was happening. One evening Bat said, There is a baby in the cave. He is new and pink and fat and small. And the woman is very fond of him. Ah, said the cat, listening. But what is the baby fond of? He is fond of things that are soft and tickle, said the bat. He is fond of warm things to hold in his arms when he goes to sleep. He is fond of being played with. He is fond of all those things. Ah, said the cat, listening. Then my time has come. Next night, Cat walked through the wet wild woods and hid very near the cave till morning time. And man and dog and horse went hunting. The woman was busy cooking that morning, and the baby cried and interrupted. So she carried him outside the cave and gave him a handful of pebbles to play with. But still, the baby cried. Then the cat put out his patty paws and patted the baby on the cheek, and it cooed. And the cat rubbed against its fat knees and tickled it under its fat chin with his tail. And the baby laughed, and the woman heard him and smiled. Then the bat, the little upside-down bat that hung in the mouth of the cave, said, "Oh, my hostess, and wife of my host, and mother of my host's son, a wild thing from the wild woods is most beautifully playing with your baby." "A blessing on that wild thing, whoever he may be," said the woman, straightening her back. "For I was a busy woman this morning, and he has done me a service." That very minute and second, best beloved, the dried horse skin curtain that was stretched tail down at the mouth of the cave fell down. Whoosh! Because it remembered the bargain she had made with the cat. And when the woman went to pick it up, lo and behold, the cat was sitting quite comfy inside the cave. "Oh, my enemy and wife of my enemy and mother of my enemy," said the cat, "it is I. For you have spoken a word in my praise, and now I can sit within the cave for always and always and always. But still I am the cat who walks by himself, and all places are alike to me." The woman was very angry and shut her lips tight and took up her spinning wheel and began to spin. But the baby cried because the cat had gone away, and the woman could not hush it, for it struggled and kicked and grew black in the face. "Oh, my enemy and wife of my enemy and mother of my enemy," said the cat, "take a strand of the wire that you are spinning and tie it to your spinning whorl and drag it along the floor, and I will show you a magic that shall make your baby laugh as loudly as he is now crying." "I will do so," said the woman, "because I am at my wit's end, but I will not thank you for it." She tied the thread to the little clay spindle whorl and drew it across the floor, and the cat ran after it and patted it with his paws and rolled head over heels and tossed it backwards over his shoulder and chased it between his hind legs and pretended to lose it and pounced down upon it again, till the baby laughed as loudly as it had been crying. and scrambled after the cat and frolicked all over the cave till it grew tired and settled down to sleep with the cat in its arms. "Now," said the cat, "I will sing the baby a song that shall keep him asleep for an hour." And then he began to purr loud and low, low and loud, till the baby fell fast asleep. The woman smiled as she looked down upon the two of them and said, "That was wonderfully done. No question but you are very clever, oh cat." That very minute and second, best beloved, the smoke of the fire at the back of the cave came down in clouds from the roof. Puff! Because it remembered the bargain she had made with the cat, and when it had cleared away, lo and behold, the cat was sitting quite comfy close to the fire. "Oh, my enemy and wife of my enemy and mother of my enemy," said the cat, "it is I, for you have spoken a second word in my praise, and now I can sit by the warm fire at the back of the cave for always and always and always. But I still am the cat who walks by himself, and all places are alike to me." Then the woman was very, very angry, and let down her hair and put more woods on the fire, and brought out the broad blade bone of the shoulder of mutton, and began to make a magic that should prevent her from saying a third word in praise of the cat. It was not a singing magic, best beloved. It was a still magic, and by the cave grew so still that a little wee mouse crept out of a corner and ran across the floor. "Oh, enemy and wife of my enemy and mother of my enemy," said the cat, "is that little mouse part of your magic?" "Oh, gee, no indeed," said the woman, and she dropped the blade bone and jumped upon the footstool in front of the fire and braided up her hair very quick, for fear that the mouse should run up it. "Ah," said the cat, watching, "then the mouse will do me no harm if I eat it?" "No," said the woman, braiding up her hair. "Eat it quickly and I will ever be grateful to you." Cat made one jump and caught the little mouse, and the woman said, "100 thanks. Even the first friend is not quick enough to catch little mice as you have done. You must be very wise." That very moment and second, oh best beloved, the milk pot that stood by the fire cracked into pieces. Poof! Because it remembered the bargain she had made with the cat. And when the woman jumped down from the footstool, lo and behold, the cat was lapping up the warm white milk that lay in one of the broken pieces. "Oh, my enemy and wife of my enemy and mother of my enemy," said the cat, "it is I, for you have spoken 3 words in my praise, and now I can drink the warm white milk 3 times a day, for always and always and always. But still, I am the cat who walks by himself, and all places are alike to me." Then the woman laughed and set the cat a bowl of the warm white milk and said, "Oh cat, you are as clever as a man, but remember that your bargain was not made with the man or the dog, and I do not know what they will do when they come home." "What is that to me?" said the cat. "If I have my place in the cave by the fire, and my warm white milk 3 times a day, I do not care what the man or the dog can do." That evening, when the man and the dog came into the cave, the woman told them all the story of the bargain while the cat sat by the fire and smiled. Then the man said, "Yes, but he has not made a bargain with me or with all proper men after me." Then he took off his 2 leather boots and he took up his little stone axe. That makes 3. And he fetched a piece of wood and hatchet. That is 5 altogether. And he set them out in a row and he said, "Now we will make our bargain. If you do not catch mice when you are in the cave for always and always and always, I will throw these 5 things at you whenever I see you. So shall all proper men do after me." "Ah," said the woman listening, "this is a very clever cat, but he is not so clever as my man." The cat counted the 5 things and they looked very knobby, and he said, "I will catch mice when I am in the cave for always and always and always, but still I am the cat who walks by himself and all places are alike to me." "Not when I'm near," said the man. "If you had not said that last, I would have put all these things away for always and always and always. But I am now going to throw my 2 boots and my little stone axe, that makes 3, at you whenever I meet you, and so shall all proper men do after me." Then the dog said, "Wait a minute, he has not made a bargain with me or with all proper dogs after me." And he showed his teeth and said, "If you are not kind to the baby while I am in the cave for always and always and always, I will hunt you till I catch you, and when I catch you I will bite you, and so shall all proper dogs do after me." "Ah," said the woman listening, "this is a very clever cat, but he is not so clever as the dog." Cat counted the dog's teeth and they looked very pointed, and he said, "I will be kind to the baby while I am in the cave, as long as he does not pull my tail too hard, for always and always and always, but I still am the cat that walks by himself and all places are alike to me." "Not when I'm near," said the dog. "If you had not said that last, I would have shut my mouth for always and always and always, but now I am going to hunt you up a tree whenever I meet you. So shall all proper dogs do after me." Then the man threw his 2 boots and his little stone axe, that makes 3, at the cat. And the cat ran out of the cave and the dog chased him up a tree. And from that day to this, best beloved, 3 proper men out of 5 will always throw things at a cat whenever they meet him, and all proper dogs will chase him up a tree. But the cat keeps his side of the bargain too. He will kill mice and he will be kind to babies when he is in the house, just as long as they do not pull his tail too hard. But when he has done that, and between times, and when the moon gets up and night comes, he is the cat that walks by himself, and all places are alike to him. Then he goes out to the wet wild woods, or up the wet wild trees, or on the wet wild roofs, waving his wild tails and walking by his wild lawn. Pussy can sit by the fire and sing. Pussy can climb a tree or play with a silly old cork and string to amuse herself, not me. But I like Pinky, my dog, because He knows how to behave. So Pinky's the same as the first friend was, and I am the man in the cave. Pussy will play Man Friday till it's time to wet her paw and make her walk on the windowsill for the footprint Crusoe saw. Then she fluffles her tail and meows and scratches and won't attend. But Pinky will play whatever I choose, and he is my true first friend. Pussy will rub my knees with her head, pretending she loves me hard. But the very minute I go to my bed, Pussy runs out in the yard, and there she stays till the morning light, so I know it is only pretend. But Pinky, he snores at my feet all night, and he is my firstest friend. The end. Alright, that's all. Thank you very much for listening to this story. The cat is a very clever cat, and he is again the cat that walks by himself. Right? Wait, I'm gonna drink some water. And because the story is over, only for bedtime stories, I will not read the donation tonight. I will read it on the next stream, so if you want to listen to this stream until you fall asleep and not be disturbed by the donation reading, I will read the donation at the next stream. Alright, so thank you very much for listening, and I wish you guys can sleep well tonight. Alright, so good night everyone, have a nice rest and have a nice day.